Hello, everyone, and welcome to Radiant Sunday. This podcast is for any one of you who wants to live a healthy, vibrant life and to be fearlessly authentic, awakening your unseen magic. We use spirituality, neuroscience, esoteric, psychology tools to live in your soul's truth. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to build incredible things together as we all weave into each other's collective stories. Let's get started. Welcome to today's episode. We are episode 6. I am your host, Celine, and thank you for being here. If you are new, welcome. Today, I want to dive into the topic of sacred union. I first want to say that Radiant Sunday is not just your typical yoga, meditation, goody two-shoes spirituality podcast. I want Radiant Sunday to be this dynamic space that embodies the full spectrum of what it is to be human. In today's age, it seems like we have a plethora of choices, and we find ourselves in this paradox of choice. Now, what is sacred union? To start, well, everything is sacred, but you are declaring that there is something more special. To have such devotion and the complete surrender and wholeness into two souls merging into one. For me, I look at it as seeing the divinity in your partner, not for your own selfish reasons to manipulate or to trap them, but seeing them and recognizing that they are human and there are many facets and different spectrums for us to embody this. Together, it becomes a symbiotic relationship and you are working towards something more purposeful, something that is greater than both of you. A little backstory. I was probably 21, 22, and I was with this man who I was so irrevocably, painfully in love, and I completely lost myself in him. But it wasn't our time. I could feel it in the depths of my soul that he was the one for me. I felt like a crackhead on withdrawal when that ended, and I was a lost lamb attracted to wolves. Now that I think about it, it was kind of funny, and I did a lot of silly things, but that paved the way for me to be in my other conscious relationships. I found myself healing from that, and that time, I didn't think it was possible that I could recover from that, but I did, and I was just in awe and amazed at how much I had the capacity to love. The type of love that leaves you breathless, almost out of body, encompasses my whole being. And the pain from that, it was almost kind of erotic, but it was very toxic. It was such a toxic cycle that it had to end. After I grieved and tried to pick up all the pieces that was shattered, I found myself with other mature men. Through their pain, experiences, their wisdom, their guidance, I was able to navigate through life and love again and recognize my attachment styles. At that time, I was very much anxiously attached with crippling abandonment issues, and that really stemmed from my lack of security. My parents stayed together, even though it was apparent that they were not meant for each other. So I made it my mission to hold my lover so tight because I was afraid to be abandoned. And that broke my heart that he could not meet me in the middle. I continued to have a fear of abandonment because I consistently abandoned myself in order for others to persuade that I was worthy of not being abandoned. It was fun to be engaged, to be the object of desire. But after that, I found another partner who was incredibly intelligent. It was a very conscious relationship, and we almost bonded through our pains from our previous relationships. He was incredibly intelligent and I had everything, and he was such a provider. Everything that I needed, I had, but I still felt alone, and I thought to myself, this can't be it. Like, I need to find myself. There is more to life than this. And I did everything I could. There was no stone left unturned. I healed, I explored, I loved, I fucked. I wanted to learn every fiber of my being, and it was fantastic. The crux of my transformation and to really learn how to advocate for myself, become the person that I aspired to be, that was such a monumental moment for me to really love myself so deeply. And now, how can we embody and how can we honor our desires and authenticity? I think the greatest challenge is the unknown. Your desires are the driving force. It's what pushes you to do something. Our reptilian brain is always looking to survive. It's always fearful, and we can't help it. It's in our DNA. We need to honor our desires and to honor the rewilding of our primal instincts. Yes, it can be hot, but it can also be vapid. We have this very myopic view of life that to be in a partnership, it has to be a certain way, but it is so much more complex than that. Some struggles that I have come across is that people now are very afraid of sincerity because of vulnerability. You are open to criticism, having the fear of being ridiculed. Society has conditioned and groomed us to be a well-groomed poodles on a leash. That if you show a little bit of yourself, a little bit of spice, a little bit of your primal nature, that it's bad. It comes with pros and cons, don't get me wrong, but it takes a lot of discipline, especially sexual discipline, to find that balance. It's really an ick for us women when men can't have that discipline and the gnosis, like when to stop or when to give in. That is why to master sexual energy is mastering life force. The human toroidal system of your chakras even is always spinning top down. Your brain is always thinking of sex, so from your brain going down to your sexual organs, again, to reproduce, to create life, it's hard to fight Darwinism. The goal is to move it from top down to down up. If you awaken, the unfathomable, vast wisdom of the universe holds, this rapture of the cosmos that unlocks the remembering that you are fucking God, that you are divine, it's undescribable. We're all crazy, but we just need to find that man and woman who we can tolerate. Someone who finds our coarseness charming, right? Now, there's the concept of the leaking wagon, and it's the perpetual search for alternatives because our primal brains are always thinking, for your survival, that you want the best thing, the best option for you to survive. And we search for alternatives. What if I desire something else? Is there room where I want something? Have I truly explored my lust? I had a lot of mistrust, but to be fully chosen in a partnership, this allows you to heal. If you've ever done an eye gazing yabion practice, oh my God. When I first did that, it broke me wide open. No one has truly made me feel seen. I've had partners that were just amazingly masculine, who held me, who allowed me to heal with them and to be reverent, patient, and know that he will be there for me even when I don't feel secure. And the same way, I was able to do that for him. When his world is crumbling, he knows that I will be there for him. It may be difficult, but having that security, you are bonded. We are all Viking, ravishing wolves, and we need to be aware of that it takes a lot of self-work, physical, spiritual, emotional, exploring with different partners. It's allowed us to have a level of knowing, and for myself, to discover little nooks and crannies about myself that I didn't know about, to find myself and have a deeper meaning of life, in my evolution. Some might exactly know what they want. Some need to experience it. I was the latter. So we can make choices with agency. Time and time again, I will always choose to be in a sacred union because I've seen it, I've experienced it, and now I know what I want. And I will wait for that one person who is ready to be in full devotion to a woman as I will be in full devotion to him. To be in a sacred union is like the Fellowship of the Rings. If you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, they all come together for one big purpose, and they forget about their differences because they know that they are working on something greater than all of them. At the same time, don't forget that beneath all of this, we're all primates. And if you look at divorce rate, it's called the sunk cost fallacy. Most relationships, people tend to stay even if they know it's not good for them. Just like sitting in a terrible improv show, just waiting to see how it pans out. We pretend or tame those true instincts we have. Why would anyone long to be superfluous, to just sit and wait to die? That's just lunacy when you can just live now and allow yourself to be a human. I am all in. Let the cosmos breaks. I will follow him to the depths of the earth, and I want to be in the same devotion as him. But still recognize that I am human and that I can see that in him too. I don't want him to be a withering dead plant. I want him to be alive and say, fuck yes, you are my goddess and I am a god and I can take on the world. My arrows and his arrows are sexual communion is paramount, working on the same mission, to do what I came here to do, to serve the good of all, to teach people to love again and to find themselves. We are both rooted to a cause that is bigger than all of us, because love is the greatest universal energy. Awakening is the accepting of the darkness, the beast that is inside of you, taming it and knowing that it is still there when it needs to come out. My Kundalini awakening was far greater than my very first spiritual awakening. The arrows that lies inside all of us, it's very explosive, magical, ecstatic. I've had many come to God moments. And, it's like you fear abandonment because you can't trust yourself to have boundaries. If you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you will be crushed. That if you feel like you lose yourself, you lose your independence, that you have to compromise with your partner. And the more distant you keep someone, the more you have control of the variables. So you don't want to invite the other person in for possible rejection. So you end up in these cyclical tangents. You don't get to know yourself. After all, what is commitment? Commitment is being known in your vulnerability. This may come as being afraid of letting someone in because you've been scarred from your past. You draw conclusions that men or women are crazy, that you allowed this to happen. Why do you gravitate towards these types? It's more damaging for men who is the one who's doing the chasing. And it is socially acceptable to be the together one, the one who doesn't have feelings, and society doesn't reward men who are the ones who are in love, who shows that they are vulnerable, that they are there for their woman, who shows their feelings. It doesn't fit the archetype of a man who's in control, who is bold. Now, there are 3 stages in a relationship. By the way, sparks aren't real. It's either your attachment or chemistry or psychology. You can easily trick someone to like you. The people who are not grounded with themselves are the easiest ones to manipulate. The first stage is called limerence. It's the new relationship feeling where you're in love, the lack of agency. It's intoxicating. Everything is funny, sexy. You want to go everywhere with this person. It's the pre-tragic that you don't know the traumas that you need to work on, the baggage, the secrets, and finding that flow. Next is tragic. This is when shit really comes out. It's up to you how far you will go, how much sacrifices you're willing to make. This takes a lot of discipline, self-examination, knowing your limits, your boundaries, what you want, what you don't want, what you are willing to give or take. After all of that, you reach your apex. You can finally take a deep breath and you're like, that blissful state. Post-tragic sweetness, you've assimilated the wisdom, the challenges which you love and appreciate. Your bond is stronger and you are cruising, and you know that whatever life throws at you, you both can go together and get through it. There is such a necessity of darkness for the emergence of light. Through your explorations in different relationships, for me, it was the plant medicine that really allowed me to open myself up to have the eagle's point of view. I'm not going to advise anyone. It's not my choice. It's for you to make. I'm only speaking in my own experience. Don't feel that you should be peer pressured, coaxed by anyone by doing it. You're going to enter through rough spots and there's no bailout. And that is when most people panic. People use it leisurely like substances to escape their reality. But you need to have fun and at the same time use it to learn more about yourself. You have to choose it, to surrender. And I don't know a better teacher. It can heal years and years of therapy. Ultimately, awakening is more like a tool in deciphering the reality and figuring out our place within it. However, I think trying to get rid of your ego is just another goal. And it's another layer of ego. Ego is the gas that propels you. We still need ego. We need ego to build the life that we want. Anyone is capable of that when they continue to be dedicated to their own spiritual growth. Anyone can awaken. This leads to acceptance, forgiveness, letting go, having faith in your own integrity, and just be humbled by the innocence and the ability of expansion. To be at peace of who you are and truly following your purpose. I don't feel like I'm truly living when I don't know myself. Because I can be my fiercest advocate and my harshest critic, but through these teachings, it's softened and polished me so I can shine brighter and share my light. There's this thing in quantum physics that's called the observer effect. It's when the electrons is seen, it changes its direction, the direction of spin, and the moment we see everything, especially in the vibration of love and gratitude, we can change the nature of the fabric that is around us. So we are sending ripples of this frequency. Everything we resist is our shadows. Hell is our biases. If there is no darkness, there is no light. There is beauty in destruction, so life can emerge again. Through these journeys, you understand that darkness serves the light. Through darkness, there is no contrast. Our traumas, our illusions, they're just false causalities, murking our mind with the unconscious. But don't shun away from the darkness. It will only help you to get to the place of radical love. Being powerful does not heal your childhood traumas. It's quieting your brain so you can hear yourself. This helps in having a more meaningful, purposeful life, and anybody that you come across, anybody that you talk to, they feel more nourished. You are giving them a new sense of self, new sense of perspective. We are equipped with neurological systems that would interpret in our senses that we are separate, and it gives us the perception of the separateness to protect us from a lot of potential vulnerability, scarcity, and other things that might be damaging to us. However, when those life-flinching moments come, the contractions and the restrictions of life, when you've worked on yourself and you can truly surrender and know that you got this, you have the tools. And we don't fix our roof when it's raining, right? We fix it when it's sunny outside. And we gather those tools. So when shit hits the fan, you know what tool to pick up. This is necessary for our evolution, and we can die trying. After those spiritual journeys, you take time to integrate, to have a deeper level of sense of awareness. Just like what Carl Jung said, for your leaves to stretch out to heaven, you need to stretch out your roots. Shadow work is very important in all aspects of our lives. It is crucial, and only then, when you can forgive and love yourself, to acknowledge your duality and to truly love yourself, you can surrender to the beauty of everyone else. That you don't feel the need to control, and you can let them simply be. There are days when the self-awareness does get corroded, it fades, but when you are losing your ground, you know that you have your practices, your daily routines to keep that fire alive, such as your meditations, your cold therapy, your breath work, connecting with nature, stillness, having a self-pleasure practice, honoring this vessel. It reminds you that you are a part of something greater. Realizing that all this time you are who you have been looking for. I'm okay with being alone because I am complete. I am whole. And I love myself so much. And now that I have that fidelity and know that I won't ever lose myself again, it was the epoch of my transformation. Everything that I do is for my spiritual growth. And I want that for my partner too. Now, how can you deepen a sacred union? How can you surrender to this sacred union? There is unity in the opposite. Instead of fighting it, dancing in the grace of the opposite, instead we take sides such as biases, political views, etc. We try and find balance, the middle ground. There might be pessimistic, optimistic, polarizing ideas, but they are just valencies. This entraps us, and the only thing you should be concerned is freeing your mind. Sacred union is the surrender, deep surrendering of exactly what it is, to be open to what life is bringing. Also having the courage to experience the fullness of life. Doing that with a partner that can also see that, it would be devastatingly beautiful. And then when you're in that partnership, everything that is not in resonance to that sacred union, it's not even worth it. Again, to be so devoted to each other, but hold their hand, not to tie them, and say, I am here. You can explore life. You can explore yourself. Live the fullness of you without judgment, without biases. Because I have healed myself, and I want you to heal yourself as well. I want you to experience life in all spectrums. To have honesty, commitment, communication, and just love each other. It's all love. Not your ego, not your societal conditioning, not whoever's timeline, because you love them and you want them to experience the fullness of life, and you can both show up for each other to bolster each other in your own journeys. A well-integrated masculine knows how to balance and is in touch with his heart, knowing that there can be intensity and warmth and gentleness too. There are many well-rounded examples throughout history. There's poets like Socrates. He's a great philosopher who was a ferocious warrior. Also, Miyamoto Musashi. He was one of the greatest swordsmen of all time who could go on 100 duels, but he would come home and practice his calligraphy, being in touch with his feminine side. While the feminine, she is there to hold space and sets the stage for men to be kings, seeing the divine masculine instead of attacking or projecting our traumas. It's a leap of courage to be soft. It takes a lot of remembering and strength. And for a man to hold the feminine in all of her fullness, to know yourself as a man, to hold a woman in her totality, the gift of the divine can be challenging, but it is initiating you and giving you great, difficult things so that you can remember the true and power that you have. Every man has to find it for himself. Because us women, we see your potential. We know that you could be something even greater. My greatest fear is having a mediocre life, mediocre partner, mediocre love. I could be in a reasonable, fulfilling relationship, but I choose to ride life all the fucking way. I want a partner with such devotion. And also, sex is more epic. Sex that transports you to the astral. I don't know. Everything becomes elementary. But again, having that purpose, having that mission, and you both working on something beyond yourselves, just as much you are devoted to yourselves, that is a sacred union. So, for the meantime, love like you've never loved before, because when you get to the 8th, 9th dimension and you are just in the void, you're nothing but a thought, you're just floating in the void, and you'll say, man, I really lived it up. If I am killed by simply loving, then let death be kinder to man. Going through our dark shadows and really learning ourselves is how we can give ourselves to others. Because with great pain comes great wisdom. Even the most intelligent people are clouded with this gaze, but really doing your work, meditating, the defocalization, enabling space for greater clarity to emerge. There are no traits that are negative or positive, only until somebody puts a subjective biased perception, placing their moral, hypocritical value systems, because if it was really evil, it would have gone extinct. Evolution, biology, it's the denial of your own magnificence that keeps your magnificence from shining in your own experience. So just live. The hedonistic pursuits of life, our level of EQ, IQ are dependent on the levels of distraction we can manage, and using our brain with our mind, we can probe deeper into the levels of existence. It is important that we have a self-pleasure practice. It is integral in your physical, mental, emotional, especially in your spiritual development. Having society have this pervasive analogy that sex is bad, that it is only for a certain age, only for certain people who looks a certain way, only for certain genders. Sex is how you find your sacredness. If you want to find God, it's not praying up. It's going down through your heart. It's down up. Remember that. Find more connection, then you can have more meaningful relationship. There is nothing a mortal body can't experience that the mortal soul can't love. In French, it's also called le petit mort. This means little death. It's that transcendental state between your climax and orgasm where everything just stops. These are just self-mastery tools. It's a liberation of one's body, mind, and soul, and ultimately we reach transcendence in our samsara, our evolution. So before we end this podcast, if you made it here, I want to share you this self-pleasure practice, and just feel your skin. Notice your breath. Think of your breath as this ball of light that is charging you up, this ball of energy. Your prana is life force. It is what moves your energy. And you do this continuous cycles of breath. Take your time. Make it a ritual. You can also do breath of fire where you are heating your body up. But the key is when you reach your climax, you want to say, I love you, I love you, I love you. Just see how much this transforms you and how much more you can love yourself. Sex is an active form of meditation, and our deepest longing is to be sexually, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally as intimate as possible with other beings. We are all one consciousness, embodying individuality. The quality in them is the quality you see in yourself. You see them as they are with pure reflective awareness. Speak with integrity, surrender, open yourself to newfound fearlessness and freedom. This kind of surrender can be deeply pleasurable and so ecstatic, just full passion, fierce fire, cosmic yes to life, and continue to fall relentlessly in love with yourself. Own your beauty, and the rarer you are, the rarer the people who see your perspective. In this way, the greater your success, the fewer people you can share this with. Sometimes loneliness is the tax you have to pay to atone to a certain complexity of the mind. Ask yourself, where am I most purposeful? How can I contribute more? And we transform the world by transforming ourselves. Thank you all for listening. This has been an exciting podcast, and I can't wait to hear about your ideas, what you think. You can follow me on Instagram at RadiantSunday222, or you can join us in our website. I will be releasing more courses on how you can deepen your practice even more. Until next time, namaste, and if no one's told you today, I fucking love you.